Hello, everybody. I just want to make sure I'm live here. Hold on. Hello. I think I am. Let me just double check here. Yeah. Okay. So, hi. It has been so long since I have gone live in this group, and I'm so sorry. And I want to kind of explain and kind of just bear with me. I want to have a little powwow with you guys and catch you up on some things that I've been doing and working on, and some ways that this group's going to change in the next couple of months, etc. Um, Let me see if I can just move to. I can't do that. Okay. So when you jump on, just say hi. Tell me your name, where you're listening from, and something good that happened to you today. And for those of you who don't know me, because it literally has been like 3 months, I think, since I've gone live in this group, and I just want to say hi. I want to reintroduce myself. I want to tell you what's going on. And I actually have some notes for today. It's so exciting. Anyway, back in May, there are two people on. Hi, come say hi. I don't know who it is. Back in May, a lot of you attended my conscious eating conclave, and that took a ton of my time and mental energy and emotional space. And when it was over in early May, I kind of just checked out, to be honest. I did the whole event by myself, didn't have any help. The pandemic, the kids were home, and it was really a lot. And I kind of just, I guess, essentially took a summer sabbatical. Firstly, because my kids were home, they didn't have camp, so I didn't want them to like sit home all summer and watch TV and whatever. So we did trips and we did outings, and it's very hard for me to, and I'm still working on it, but it's very hard for me to switch between my parenting hat and my work from home, from my own business hat. Do you know what I mean? And I had a really hard time juggling the two things. And as a result, I sort of spent a lot less time in my business. And now that school's back in session, actually they're going to go back live starting on Thursday. I don't know about your kids, if you guys have kids and if they're in school. We're doing a hybrid approach, so it's like 1 week on, 1 week off. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. And I just am really sorry. I really want to show up here more for you guys. I want to educate you more on some of the things that I'm doing and share more about my process. And that is a early New Year's resolution that I have, to be going live in this group way more often, probably more like twice a week. And today I wanted to, this is actually something I've been wanting to do for a while now, and to be honest, I have my own fears about it. I have fears about discussing this, because it's so controversial, but there's so many opinions, and it's such a sensitive topic, and it's something that I've really struggled with my entire life. And you guys know I even wrote a book about it, wrote a book about body image and so forth. But let me go to my notes. Actually, let me back up for a second. I just wanted to announce a couple of quick things. First of all, I'm so delighted and excited to tell you that I joined a program called the Academy of Culinary Nutrition, and I've already started it, and I'm studying to be a certified culinary nutritionist. So what that means is, in addition to the eating psychology and behavioral modification, mindful and intuitive eating tools and so forth that we do here, I'm also going to be helping people use food as medicine through recipes and through specific markers, really essentially, that they're learning about their gut health, and then customizing plans for people, meal plans, as well as depending on what you're struggling with, could be certain herbs and supplements and things like that. But basically it's a food as medicine approach, and we're learning about culinary nutrition, about the kinds of phytochemicals and nutrients in the food and how they promote health in different ways. So I'm super excited about that. But it's also a cooking program, so it's a lot of cooking, and it's a lot of recipe development, meal planning development, and so I'm super excited about that. The second thing I wanted to share is that I've also partnered with this company called Ixela, Ixela. You'll be learning a lot more about that in the upcoming weeks and so forth. But it's a company that was specifically founded to support gut health in a very different way. So for those of you who have ever dealt with gut issues or immunity issues, autoimmune, mood disorders, all kinds of stuff, you probably know that a lot of the etiology of some of those symptoms reside in the gut. So it depends on how healthy your gut flora is and what kind of balance or dysbiosis might be in the gut. And so I've become like really, really interested in that lately. It's all very much related because 70% of our immunity and our overall health, it actually originates in the gut. So if there is a problem in the gut, it's often going to create symptoms that that span the entire body, to be honest. So I've coupled with them, and I'm going to be sharing in the next couple of weeks and months and what have you, ways that you can also take a gut health test. This particular one is a pinprick test. So you actually get a test sent to your house, you get a pinprick. It's super easy. I did it myself. And then you get a report based on specific markers and metabolites about how well your gut bacteria is thriving. Like you can have a diverse microbiome and you can eat fermented foods and eat really well, but if the bacteria isn't doing what it's supposed to do, you're not going to have optimal health, meaning you may not metabolize your nutrients the way you should. You may not assimilate them the way that it should be. It's fascinating. I could talk about it for a long time, but in the meantime, I just want to share that I'm partnering with them, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more in the upcoming days and weeks about that. So today I'm going to talk about weight loss, and this is something that I've had a lot of conflicting emotions and thoughts about. It's evolved throughout my life, as I'm sure for many people here who's watching it has. I see 2 people on, come and say hi. And I just want to start off by sharing a little bit about my weight history. And you can see why I was so nervous about sharing this and why, I actually put it off for a long time, wanting to really talk about the direction that I'm going next in my business, and I'll explain why. So for those of you who don't know, I kind of outline my whole story in my book, The Body Image Blueprint, which is available on Amazon. And basically from a very young age, like, 13, 14, I was just always on diets. Like I was never I felt like I was either actively losing weight, right, through a diet, or I was just gaining weight. So there was no maintenance. There was no like, okay, I'm just gonna stay where we are. I was either like really forcing myself to like lose weight, or it was just like on the fast track to gaining weight. And some of you may relate to that. I went on, that lasted all my 20s, a lot of my 30s, and a lot of you know that I worked at a national weight and health management company called HMR, and it was a fantastic company. I learned a lot. I was there for 13 years, and I actually helped people lose weight. That's basically what I did. It was a medically supervised weight management program for people who had comorbidities. There was a medical component, there was a behavioral component, and I ran classes and I helped people one-on-one, supported them on this program. Now, there were things that I really loved about this program, the behavioral component, the ways that I learned how to help people build consistency and momentum and motivation, and to really think about behavioral change as a long-term, yes, difficult, but long-term sort of solution where you have to practice and you actually have to get good at it, like anything else that you would in your life. Like you have to learn how to be a good pianist, right? If you want to play soccer, you have to practice, you have to show up for the lessons. And so while from that perspective I learned a lot, there were some other things about the program that really didn't sit well with me, including very fast, aggressive weight loss through calorie restriction, and specifically through the meal replacements that we would give people. And this was all monitored, of course, through a doctor. But the thing about it was that people would lose the weight really fast, but then they would gain it back just as fast. And there would be a lot of recidivism. Like people would come back over. I'd see the same people. They come in, they lose the weight, they leave, then they come back a year later. Remember, I was there for 13 years. So the other thing I want to mention is that the food that they were giving people was really, in my opinion, unhealthy. And at the time, I was so young, like I was still finding my way in a lot of ways myself. And I just sort of drank the Diet Kool-Aid, if you will. And when I first got there, they said to me, we need you to be a good role model for your clients and for your patients. And I was like, yeah, of course, I'm a vegetarian, I work out. Yeah, I love being a role model. And And somebody, my boss at the time said, actually, we're going to ask you to do one of the diets. And I was like, what? I was like so taken aback. Like, what do you mean? Like, I have to lose weight in order to be good at my job. I have to lose weight in order to have credibility with my skills as a coach. Like, that doesn't seem to make sense. And I'm happy to do the health promoting behaviors, but to ask me to lose weight, I felt it was really shocking to be actually. But I was in my 20s. I was really young. I was full on in dieting culture, and I did it. And I kept doing it over and over again, even within the construct of working at a weight management company. I kept losing and gaining, partially because I had my 3 kids while I was there, and a pregnancy weight and whatnot. But really, it's indicative of my whole story because, and I'm sure many of yours, because people are not taught how to just love themselves, to reduce stress, and to eat with confidence and in an empowered way, right? And in the absence of that, we start to lose trust of our own abilities about how to feed ourselves, how to nourish ourselves, what we should look like, all these things. And so when I left my company and I started my own business, this was 5 years ago now, I actually went the complete other direction. And my tagline was beyond weight loss. So I didn't even want to talk about weight loss. I wanted to talk about post-weight loss, like not even post-weight loss, like what can we do to just love our bodies? What can we do to feel comfortable in our skin and to eat in a way that gives us joy and happiness, and like where you can be mindful and intuitive about which foods nourish you, which foods sustain you, and which ones don't, from an internal place, not from a place of like, you need to lose weight and you're not going to be healthy unless you lose weight, and like, you're not going to be loved, and you're not going to have a boyfriend, whatever it is, whatever stories you have in your head about what will happen once you've reached this Shangri-La weight, right? And so I went the other direction, and I was like, I'm not even going to talk about weight loss. I don't even want it as part of my business. Although, there were still remnants of that. We would do like kind and gentle weight loss. We would talk about weight loss in different ways. And then I wrote my book. And in my book, I talk very honestly about my weight loss and weight gain journey. I talk very honestly about different actual weights that I was at different points. And I also I used words like overweight. I used words like obesity. I used words like diabetes and all these different words related to weight. I talk about scale. I talk about all these different things. And when I wrote the book, I sent the book to a few different people in my field who I really respected, and I really wanted their endorsement for the book. And a lot of the people that I sent the book to were in the health at every size space. So it's also called HAZE. I know I'm giving you a lot of context here, but I really just wanted to share this story for so long right now. And then finally having the courage to come up and do it and talk about it openly. And I just appreciate you guys listening, and I hope this is helpful for you guys too. So I got excoriated. I got people saying, how dare you talk about weight loss? How dare you talk about correlation between weight loss and diabetes? How dare you say the word overweight? It's triggering to talk about any specific number. And I don't doubt any of that. Like, I believe that, I believe it. I work with a lot of people with eating disorders and disordered eating, and I understand that. But I also feel like it's part of my story. I want to use the verbiage, and I want to talk about the things that actually happened. And I don't want to tiptoe around that anymore. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, for a long time, people within that space wouldn't allow me to, but they wouldn't collaborate with me if I used words like weight loss or if I even talked about it. So for a long time, I just put it away. I shut the door on it, and I didn't talk about it at all. And then I've really just been kind of evolving in my thoughts about it for a long time. And so now I'm going to get to some of my notes here. Because I was thinking about how I work with clients and how I used to help people, lose. I helped one woman lose 160 pounds, and her entire life changed. She was trying to get pregnant, and she couldn't get pregnant. And after losing the weight, she ended up having twins naturally. And I kept thinking, should I not be happy about that somebody lost weight and was happy? And what I'm realizing, it's not about that. of course, I want everybody to be happy in whatever way that defines it for them. But to just say that you shouldn't desire weight loss, I think is unrealistic, and especially if you're somebody who comes from diet culture. I also feel like, so I don't usually discuss or talk about actively like, okay, we're going to do this week and you're going to weigh in and this and that, and like weight loss from that perspective. But what I was noticing is the work that I was doing in and of itself was facilitating weight loss for a lot of my clients naturally, like with no effort. Like it was all the stuff that we were doing on self-care, on stress reduction, on intuitively eating, in recognizing the pleasure of flavors and textures and mouthfeel and all that stuff, just by teaching mindful and intuitive eating and helping people slow down and learning their eating psychology was enough to reduce inflammation and for people to lose weight naturally. And I thought to myself, like, am I not supposed to be happy about that? Because for some people in our field, in the fields of health and wellness and body image and eating, weight loss is very taboo, and there's a lot of reasons for it, because dieting is usually the tip of it. Like, in order to lose weight, you have to restrict calories, you have to over-exercise, you have to be micromanaging things, you have to be worried all the time. And I wanted to address the fact that I can be happy for a client who loses weight and still be honoring everything about them. Like, it's not about the weight loss. And I'm personally more happy that they're happy in their skin, that they're doing things that they love to do, that their other health markers have improved. But it's also naive to think that it's not exciting to lose weight if that's a goal of yours, or to fit into a different size of clothes, or just to feel better in your skin. And I have to be quite honest, one of the reasons why I didn't want to talk about weight loss is because some of the trauma that I experienced working at that company for so long, where I was judged on my weight, and actually I had a couple other experiences there where I had one woman say to me, well, no offense, but you're teaching a class on weight loss? Like, no offense, but I want to lose weight, like things like that. Or, like a year after having my baby, somebody would say, hi, Colleen. A year after having my baby, someone would be like, are you expecting? I'm like, no, I'm not. but thanks, so there's a lot of trauma around that. And I'd always worry, like, do people not want to work with me because I'm not a certain weight, And what I found over 13 years of working there was that's actually the opposite. Like, people really resonated with me and my story, and they wanted to work with me because they knew I knew the struggle. I knew the everyday struggle, what they were going through, right? And so part of why I stopped talking about weight loss was because I don't want a spotlight on me. I personally have decided for myself that I never want to diet again. I never want to actively pursue weight loss again. I'm happy and comfortable in my skin. But if I had a magic wand, if I had a magic button, and I didn't have to work out 3 hours a day, and I could still, eat the foods that I love and whatever, I would love to be 20 pounds less. Like, yeah. But at the same time, I've learned to feel super comfortable in my skin, and I'm happy with the way that I eat. And the best part of all is that my weight has been a flat line, like literally maintained my weight within 2 pounds for 5 years now. And like I said in the beginning of this, it was never that. It was always gaining or losing, right? And so I have found for myself a really beautiful, happy weight where I feel like myself. I'm able to do the things I love. I eat very healthy and have very few cravings. I have very little tug of war in my head anymore. Very little of that should I, shouldn't I, the decision anxiety, the angst, the like this, like, oh my God, I can't have this. Like, none of that is in place anymore. So that's what I call true food freedom, right? Food freedom is the ability to like release all that crap and then just have all this expansiveness in your brain to do other things that you love. And that's the decision that I made. And yet I still worry that if I talk about weight loss, it somehow is going to turn to me, but it's not about me. I can decide not to ever diet again or pursue weight loss and still help you lose weight. And that's what it took 20 minutes for me to say it, but that's really what I wanted to share today, is that this isn't about me. And I'm incredibly comfortable in my ability to coach you to feel better in your skin, to lose weight if you want, although it's going to be a back end door. It's not going to be a traditional way of losing weight, because, oh, there's a whole other, I could tell you when we start working together. How about that? But so all of that just to say that I have decided that I'm going to put weight loss back into my coaching programs and packages. I'm not going to tiptoe around it anymore. Let's talk about it. Like, I know that it's controversial in some ways. I wish it wasn't. But I wanted to get that out all on the table. Because, how do I say this? Like, ultimately, what's going to happen is going to happen. But anything that happens with respect to weight loss is only going to come from a relaxation response, and from it being a gentle, slow, affirming process, not out of self-loathing, not out of force, not out of restriction, not out of any of the traditional ways that we have thought about how we lose weight, and ultimately, what I want for people is to be happy in a holistic way. And what I know for myself, and let me know in the chat if you felt the same way, if you've ever been someone who's a chronic dieter or a weight cycler or whatever, I would lose the weight, but I really wasn't happy because there was a part of me that knew deep down I wasn't going to be able to sustain it. And there was a part of me that knew what was involved. Like, I would have thoughts like, how am I going to exercise 2 hours a day, every day? And I knew that if that fell apart, other things would fall apart. And so I was constantly like this, like hanging on. And when I let go of all of that, that's when I settled into a nice, comfortable place. I would love to share more about that, but the thing that I want to, the really exciting news that took me 21 minutes to get to, is that I'm opening up a new high-end, very immersive, very bespoke and personalized program. It's a 6-month program. It's going to be the only thing that I'm going to be working on. And I'm so excited about it. And remember I talked about gut health and Excella? That's going to be part of it. And today I'm opening up doors. Well, not really opening up the doors, but I'm opening up the waiting list. So if this is something you're interested in learning more about, go to the link it's in the heading of our group, and I'm going to pop it down here as well. But there we go. Just get on the wait list, and I'm going to be sending you, just as a little thank you, I'm going to send you a resource guide and workbook to boost your gut health through food, through herbs, through stress reduction techniques, and optimizing your sleep. So that's going to be a free workbook that you'll get when you join the waiting list. And applications, it's going to be applications only. I'm not really doing an interview, but I want to have a face-to-face call with everybody who's interested, because I want to make sure it's a good fit. And in the upcoming weeks and months, I'm going to tell you a lot more about it. I'm going to do some trainings and share a little bit about the process with you. But the thing to know right now is that it's going to have 3 components. The first one is to reduce chronic stress and teach you resiliency techniques, self-soothing techniques, stress reduction techniques. The second part of it is all about your gut health. And I'm going to be, like I said, partnering with Excella to really get very granular about what is working and not working within the construct of your gut health. And the best news of all is that from that report, it's going to share with me specific foods that your body, your chemistry needs to thrive. And I did this test myself. I'm going to talk more about that as well. And some of actually I had a few posts down. There's a blog that I wrote about my experience with taking the test and all the amazing things that I learned by doing it, and how I'm feeling so much better now. And that's the second part. So it's releasing chronic stress. It's going to be about boosting and restoring your gut health in a very specific way. And then the third part of it is just rebuilding that healthy relationship with food. So not only by how you eat, not only by what you eat, but also how you eat. And that's where we're going to be looking at something I'm calling your eating ecosystem, where we're looking at advocating and planning for things that come into your environment. We're going to be talking about self-sabotage, how to sustain momentum, how to be consistent. And we're also going to be looking at all the mindful and intuitive eating processes and eating psychology as a whole. So the really cool thing about this program is that it's basically a one-on-one program. I'm going to be like basically holding your hand for 6 months, you and me side by side, helping you achieve all your goals. But it's also going to be a group program in that we're going to have 6 monthly calls as well. That's going to be partially a lesson. So like maybe we talk about self-sabotage, or maybe we talk about how to build momentum. But it's also an opportunity to build a community within this so that you don't feel like you're alone in changing some of these behaviors and habits around food. So I'm super excited. There's going to be 6 group sessions and 10 one-on-one sessions. There's going to be the 2 gut health tests, as well as a goal setting session, and then the action plan. And as a culinary nutritionist in training, I'm also going to be curating and cultivating and creating very specific meal plans for you and recipes. So it's a very comprehensive program. And for now, if you'd like more information, if you want to stay on top of all like the layout and when applications open and all that stuff, just click that link right below in the comments and jump on the waiting list, and I'll tell you so much more about it. I feel a lot better now. Thanks for listening, you guys. It's hard for me to talk about this, especially the weight loss stuff. It's been like, ugh. Ever since I was like vilified for like talking about it in my book, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like terrified of, I mean, I don't know why I'm terrified, but I've really evolved in how I've thought about it. And I realized that I have to have my own process, my own philosophy about it, and it can't conform necessarily to other people's belief systems. It has to be something that makes sense to me. And this is what I've landed on, is that, you know what? It's okay to want to lose weight, and it's okay for me as a health practitioner and as a coach to help you do that in the way that I think is going to help you thrive, while at the same time, right, recognizing that weight loss won't make you happy necessarily. It's everything else that you're doing internally, all the mindset upgrades, the behavioral and habit shifts, the ways that you're embracing healthy food and balanced food in a joyful way. Those are the things that matter, and those are the things that we'll always focus on. And when I say backdoors, that weight loss results weight gain is often a symptom and not the problem itself, right? So what I'm looking at is all the stress and psychology and background and story you have with food. How do we unpack that, and how do we get calm, comfortable, confident, and empowered around food again? And that's what this program is going to do. So thanks for listening. I'm excited about where everything's going in this. If you have any questions about the culinary program, or if you have any questions about Excella, just send a message to me, reach out to me over a private message, or email me. And thanks for listening, guys, and have a great afternoon. Bye.